Now, the difficulty of doing these stories is trying to remember everything. I've just had it read to me, so I'm going to try and get it out to you. These £10 barber salons, which have grown massively since 2018, I think it is, could actually be funding and assisting the illegal importation of economic migrants from over the channel. Bear with. They also said that the car wash industry and the nail industry, that's getting your nails done, have a part to play in money laundering, etc., and will be run, not totally, but many of them will be run by foreign gangs. Now, they say if it's too cheap, or if it's £10 in London, then the chance is that these people who are promised, like they're brought into the country by these foreigners, they're then promised work and they'll have to work it off, become pretty much a debt slave. Some of them get paid very little, or some of them don't get paid anything at all, and it's actually slavery. They also move these people around between different salons, so they're not in any one place for very long. That's my understanding of it. But I do know one thing, and I am guilty of this myself, so I'm not telling anybody else. I went to one of these places, these hairdressers, well, male salons once, just to see what the deal was. And they used to fuck off out the back and do their praying, and one of them spoke English and the rest of them were pretty much couldn't speak a word of it. And they had a massive turnover of all the hipsters and the trendy people who thought they were being woke and all inclusive because they were actually getting a cheap haircut out of these foreigners. This is the thing about the left which creases me up, and some of the centrists. They would actually do, they pretend that they're doing a virtuous and a good thing by giving these foreign workers their money to do a job, but they're actually getting it dead cheap off these foreigners, because if they went to an English worker, they'd be paying the going rate, which is 15, 20, 30, or in certain trendy parts of London, 100 quid for a haircut. Fuck that. Do you know, I went into a hairdresser's back in the 90s, and that was when a haircut cost you about 8 quid. And I went in and I said, can I have a haircut? And I was in London. And it was quite a pretty place. And she went, yeah, it's 25 quid. My mate went, no, just the stuff on his head. And look, you had to be there, but it was funny. But anyway, I know that they do a very good job, a lot of these barbers. Although I have to say that one time I went, one sideburn was up here and the other was down there, and there was a chunk out of there. So this particular one, not so great. But there again, if you're working under slave labour and under potentially duress, you're not going to be too chuffed. But the people, the gangs that do this, also rinse out a load of their money because it's cash only. So you have to ask yourself, how is it, and this has been noted already, that so many of the motors parked behind these £10 haircuts are top of the range Bentleys, Mercs, BMWs and other vehicles like that. And you think, well, where did that money come from? And it's not a massive step, especially now when you've got a police report backing up the thought that this cash in hand stuff, basically they can make a load of money on drugs and rinse it straight through these places, making it clean again. It's called money laundering. But also, the fact that you need cheap labour that'll do as it's told, you just import it. They don't know the area, they don't know anything about the country, some of them may not be the brightest, and you threaten them with violence. You do as I tell you because you owe us, and you carry on cutting. And apparently they say some of these work up to 60 hours a week. So do we, although we get paid. And I was speaking to another YouTuber, right, Sergeant Savage, and he said to his boss, he said, you've got me working so many hours, so when you work out the average, I'm working below average. And he went, well, nobody else complains. And this is the thing. People are working for a lot less nowadays because there's so many foreign workers in there that will come and fucking take your job and work for less, because it's still more than they would have earned back in their home countries. And this is one of the damage of immigration. One, I say, because there's fucking loads. But you just imagine all of these foreign barbers that are paying, I don't know how much tax, but they're money laundering. And they're front for all sorts of other criminality. And they're saying it's, I don't know what whack-a-mole is, you might know what it is, but they were saying it's like that because basically these criminals, like, you hit them there, they'll move there. And you hit them there, and then they move there. And they're always one step ahead. The problem is, they're in here now. If we'd have had an Enoch Powell solution to things back in the day, we wouldn't have this shit. So many people wanted to call that man a racist. And now when you look at it, his estimations were way short of the mark. But hey, racism, right? So, the car washes are exactly the same. There's usually one or two clever blokes amongst the rest of it, and the rest of them don't speak any English, and they do a good job. They work bloody hard. But how much are they getting paid? Now, if you're not worried about criminality, fine. If you're not worried about money laundering, fine. If you're not worried about the fact that they're not paying taxing you up, that is to say if you're working, then fine. But are you interested in human rights? Would you want to know that that person might be earning as little as £30 a day when he works a 12-hour day slogging his guts out? Would you be alright with that? Because if you asked a lefty this, they would say they're not, but yet they would do nothing about it. So, and there's many of us on the right which claim to be patriots, but then will go to these places and get their hair cut for the latest fashion. I can think of one little bloke that will do that for sure, but there's many other like it. And I've been guilty of it too, taking the car to the car wash, because I live in a block of flats. It's not exactly easy to wash a car with a bucket and sponge and keep wandering around trying to get the soap off it before it dries out. But now I know this, I can't go back to these places, which means I'll have to go through one of those emo car washes which scratches your fucking paint. Great. Having said that, I could just go to work and ask the boss to borrow the jet wash. I think that might be the way forward. But I did wonder how it was that so many of these barber shops have popped up not very long, and why and how they can stay afloat. A bit like the chicken shops, really. You see so many of them down high streets in places like, I don't know, Bristol, Swindon, all the other fucking major cities, and a lot of the towns. And you think to yourself, I never see any fucker in them. How is it that they're making money? Well, are they actually making money, or are they washing money? I mean, these are all honest questions. Now people are going, oh, you don't pick on English criminality, do you? No, because the police don't mind investigating them. It's the other fuckers. Oh, fuck me. We are in serious shit, boys and girls. Absolute serious shit. And it's only going to get worse. But answer me this. Now knowing that your local Turkish or whatever it is barbershop could well be money laundering and helping facilitate the import of fucking foreign nationals, economic migrants into the country, will you still use them? Let me know in the comments. The foreign car wash, where they do a great job and it's dead cheap. But if they're using that as a front to launder money or, I don't know, slave labour, would you still use them? Now this is the question I've got. Let me know what you think in the comments. Anyway, also, don't forget to subscribe to Big Dave Green, because he'll be having his second live stream at 8 o'clock Friday night on his channel, alright? And it's going to be chaos. And we're going to try and do some news, but in the wrong way. And can any of you remember back to the 80s and 90s, BBC Radio 1, Adrian Just? Can anybody remember him? And also Steve Wright, who's just passed away. I don't think he ever got over being bent out from radio or BBC, because that was his life. Now I don't know much about Steve Wright, but what I do know about him was during the 80s he did a Steve Wright in the Afternoon, and it was groundbreaking. It was great, and it's because of him what I want to do going forward. He got a gang of people around him. He was the anchor, but they were all good in their own ways, and they all fed the anchor news, or they talked amongst themselves. And it's that I'm thinking of going ahead. When I can be able to do this permanently, I want to eventually get a gang around that bring in humour as well as the news. Because you lot, this is the whole part of Dave Green, a fucking talking plum with zero fucks. You know, and you can do comedy with that. So Dave Green's going to get people around him, but me personally, I end up wanting, or I want to end up having a group of really good, funny, bright people around me that we can all sit around in a group, cover the news, take the piss, make it as funny, as humorous and serious when we need to be. But I really want to try and, going forward, up the game a bit and give you more quality in, not in this much of the production, because I still quite enjoy it when things crash, because there's a certain level of humour to it, but I want to give you more interaction, more humour, because it's just too serious out there. We're all in doom and gloom at the moment, and you lot need cheering up. I'm not saying you're miserable, don't get me wrong, but I'll tell you this, every one of you loves a good barrel laugh, and if I could try and find a way of doing that whilst getting the news to you, I'll feel I've achieved something. Obviously, you're not going to talk about a rape case and try and make a joke out of it, obviously. But there are times and parts during what you can talk about where you can add dark humour, where you can take the piss out of the obvious, right? And point a finger at stuff and literally fucking destroy the powers that be and the powers below them for what they are and what they're doing. So this is my direction that I want to go in, as well as doing these sort of videos and standard videos. So the future is going to be busy, and this channel is growing massively, and that's all down to you. At the end of the day, yeah, I'll do my best to try and put stuff out that I think you want to hear, but it's all to do with you. This is all geared up for you, because I want to get the message to you, you tell your friends, we've got a result. That's how it works. Fuck the mainstream media. We realise that there is no more truth to be had in that, and also you have shown by the viewing figures that you've had a guts full of them, because they're just not getting the views anymore, and we are, which makes me very, very proud of me, of you, of what we've all achieved. I think it's fucking brilliant. I really am. I'm over the moon about it. So thank you all 100% and then some. And Dave Green, I'm telling you now, you want to laugh this Friday night, get around there, right, 8 o'clock. I expect it'll be on the bio, the baby bio, quite heavily before, but that'll all be part of the charm. And at the moment, the team behind me, right, the friends in Discord, are looking for the most ridiculous stories that we can give you, just purely, because they are news stories, but purely just to make you laugh. And some of them I'm like, so that's where we're going with this. So we should have a laugh, all of us, and I have no idea how long that channel will last, but fuck it, let's have some fun while we can. So 8 o'clock, Friday night, Big Dave Green, alright? You can search for it on YouTube, because he's gained enough subs now that Big Dave Green is a plant with a set of eyes and a mouth, alright? With a Union Jack behind it, and I did check that I had it up the right way, because that would have been embarrassing. So yeah, and don't forget also, I know I keep saying this, but I have to, that I've got now 5 channels. Dave Green's one of them, Big Dave Green. You've got Reverend Simon Sideways, Rev on a Rant, which is what we go out live on Saturday night because we can't go out here. We've got Simon Evans and Man Up, alright? Please make sure you subscribe to all of them, because if they take one away, we just go, like the barber shops, sideways, and start again. Sideways. And also, we're very close. We're very close to the Capri. Yes, we are. I can almost feel it. So that's good news. Anyway, I hope your day's going slightly better than mine. I've got a truck that's drinking AdBlue like it's fucking Oliver Reed, right? I'm complaining that it's got poor AdBlue quality. So it's a snob now, is it? You're like a connoisseur truck, are you? And worse still, is there's no AdBlue in the yard, so I had to put it in a garage, and they didn't take the fuel card, so I had to pay. So I'm now paying to come to work. You can't write this shit. But anyway, there it is. Thanks for watching, thanks for liking, thanks for sharing. Stick with it, it'll get better. And don't worry, are we Wednesday? I think we're Wednesday, aren't we? Yep, so Wednesday, we're hump day for some of you. Friday I'll get the other computer fixed, so that should be good. Although somebody's got the suspicion that because I've got so many things going through extension leads, that maybe there might be a power dip, and that might be what the problem is with the computer. I don't know, I'm not a fucking lorry driver, am I? But we've got somebody coming around to reinstall Windows something else on the computer and wipe the fucking thing, start again. Hopefully that'll be a thing. And he can go through it at the same time. And if he can work it out, then maybe we won't have to have 2 screens with me in it, because that's off-putting. One's bad enough, but 2's awful. So, yeah. And summer's on the way. It is. It's out there, right? So, chin up all, and I'll see you in a bit.